This is Gabriel Weinberg, the head honcho at DuckDuckGo, the search engine that doesn't track you, that offers you privacy. I'm Robin Miller for Phosphorus, and we're talking with Gabriel because, well, the proximate cause, aside from the fact that we like his search engine, is that he gives money to open source projects, or rather corporately DuckDuckGo does. So talk to me about that. Who do you give it to and why?
So DuckDuckGo started as a personal project. You know, it's about 8 years old, but the first 3.5 were just me. So I started this giving away to open source back when it was just me. So it is a corporate donation, but it was a personal decision. And the basic idea at the beginning was we use open source. It's built on open source. We should give back to open source. It's the long and short of it. Over the years, it's evolved a little bit in that we've grown a big community. So we've been letting the community decide, or nominate projects, and then we go look for projects. And then there's a few other criteria in there. Each year we've had a theme in the last few years. This theme was raise the standard of trust online. And then in particular, after all those projects are nominated, they go through the theme. We go and look, and we try to figure out whether they could use the money. Is it a good bang for the buck? Like, what would actually happen with our donation? Because we wanted to see it be, effective.
That makes sense. So, tell me, what's the most recent beneficiary?
So we gave to about 9 projects this year. It was a total of, I think, $225,000, $25,000 to each, and they were all in this area of raising the standard of trust online. And they were things like the Tor project, the Cryptech, EFF, in the Freedom of the Press Foundation. We could go through the whole list, but it's they're all doing great things to basically protect people's privacy online.
Okay. Do you spend a lot of time worrying about your personal privacy online, and why?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We run the search engine that doesn't track you, but I've never been super tinfoil hat-ish. I take a more, I think, pragmatic approach to it, and my kind of view, the reason for DuckDuckGo adopting no tracking was, again, a personal decision when I was starting it, and it was really twofold. One is the business model does not require it. So search engines make money off of ads that are based on the keyword, not really based on you as a person. And so if you don't need to track people, why are you doing it? Well, Google and other companies are doing it because they run ad networks across the whole internet. But if you're just doing web search, you actually don't need to track people to make money. And so there are issues of people tracking you, like ads falling around the internet and the government tracking you, all sorts of things that are harms that are just unnecessary in web search. So I view it as a better search experience fully. If you don't need to collect information, then don't collect it. That's one thing. The second reason was I have a bit of a anti-establishment bent, and
no! How dare you!
I don't like the idea of handing data over to governments, which was happening more and more, over the whenever there was content or user tracking going on. And so my thought was I could kill both, birds with one stone here by just not tracking people at all. I don't have to hand over data, and it's a better search experience. So that was the genesis. We support all sorts of projects that are used for dissidents, and people are more concerned in certain situations about their privacy. But my personal approach is a bit more pragmatic in the sense that I don't like the harms around, like, ads falling around the internet or getting charged different prices based on who you are, kind of the regular consumer harms. And if I can reduce it with very little effort, then I will do so. And so there are a few things you can do that basically reduce it. And so I choose to do those things with little or no sacrifice because it's like a no-brainer to me to do. So those are things like use encryption, block third-party trackers, use the search engine that doesn't track you or other services that don't track you, that kind of stuff.
Okay, well, first of all, I'd like to say I detest the ads that follow me around the internet.
Yeah, they're annoying.
Especially, well, no, the great thing is so many of them are for something I bought last week. I already bought it. You guys are late. You're wasting your darn money. Second, I got to say, DuckDuckGo is a good, swift search engine. It's aside from everything else, it's a good search engine. So I use it. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, there's a real key point in there in that this gets back to the pragmatic privacy piece is, a regular person isn't going to switch to DuckDuckGo if they get crappy results. It's just like they're going to switch back eventually to Google. And so we have to have a good search experience, and we spend most of our time on that. I mean, like, it's actually not that hard not to track people. Like, you just don't build those systems.
I don't track people.
Yeah,
really, I don't.
Well, so we spend most of our time just improving the search engine. Like that's our primary day-to-day activity here.
Do you make money? Are you stable financially? Let's
say.
Yeah,
we're stable financially. We reported, I think it was last year, sometime recently, that we were profitable. I wouldn't say we're rolling in money.
Okay, so wait a minute.
That's not our goal necessarily.
I met a guy once who was working on a search algorithm as a grad student at Stanford. We won't mention his name, Serge. Now he has like a really big corporate jet.
You won't find any kind of DuckDuckGo corporate anything.
David, one of the two guys who started MySQL. Now, of course, he got a bunch of money. I said, so now, are you going to buy a yacht? And he said, yes, a radio-controlled one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, we're profitable and sustainable, but we're pretty lean as an organization. We're between 30 and 40 employees. As opposed to Google's, I don't know, 50, 100,000, something like that.
It turns around. Everybody I know who's not working for Red Hat is working for Google.
Yeah, we're a small, very tiny company in comparison.
That doesn't matter. Craig does well. Craigslist is even smaller.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good comparison. We're kind of like that.
You live someplace, and you don't even have to spend $1 million to get a so-so house just to get off-street parking like Craig did.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I live in Pennsylvania, and not even in Philly. I live outside Philly in near Valley Forge National Park. So it's not the most expensive real estate in the country.
Right. I understand. Really nice houses there cost what, $10, $20?
Yeah, something like that.
but for our Silicon Valley friends, we will not talk about how much you paid for your place any more than I talk about how much I didn't pay for my Florida place, unless I want them to cry.
Exactly.
But yeah. What you're saying is your kids are eating, right? Everybody's kids are eating.
Yes, exactly. And we have enough extra to keep, doing these donations, which is what we wanted to do.
I think that's very cool. Are you happy with what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. In fact, I started DuckDuckGo with that premise that I wanted to work on something that I could just work on indefinitely. And so it's been 8 years now, and it's great. I don't have any inclination to do anything else.